Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brothers and sisters, assalamu alaikum. Hope you're fine, blessed, enjoying today's day off. However, all the day looks alike right now. I hope you are enjoying the nights of Ramadan, making lots of dua to our community so that Allah elevate that. And inshallah, everything will be okay and fine as Allah wish, inshallah. Today, based on our production team, they thought of very interesting subject that we need to talk about, which is zakat. And our guest today used to appear like before. He was my guest in one of the other sessions. Is Dr. Asif Hirani. Dr. Asif Hirani, let me introduce him again, so that for people that did not watch his episode with me previously, know who's Dr. Asif Hirani. Dr. Asif Hirani completed his master's in Islamic study, Usul al-Din, from Karachi University, and attained his PhD from Al Medina International University in Tafsir and Ulum al-Quran. He's an author of several books in multiple languages, including Principles of Men and Women Interaction in Islam. Interesting. And Tafsir of Surah Yusuf from psychological perspective, which we need those days, definitely. And he's currently serving as a resident scholar in Worcester Islamic Center in Mass. And Dr. Asif, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. How are you,
How
Dr.
are you,
Umar?
Habibna? Alhamdulillah. How are you, Habibna?
Alhamdulillah.
This view is very popular right now on social media. You are like, mashallah, doing a lots of da'wah online. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. Every time I scroll down, I see like, hey, Corona news, and then Dr. Asif Hirani, Corona news, and something happened, and then this smiley face with your lovely daughter on your laps. May Allah bless you and bless her, inshallah.
Ameen.
Let me start by asking you a question. How do you see the da'wah from previously inside the mosque and masajid, and now the da'wah, and now on the blue, on the Facebook, on Instagram, social media? So how do you feel about that?
So, Bismillah, Alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah. Amma ba'd. So, first of all, I'd like to say thanks to ISBCC entire administration, Dr. Umar, to yourself, for having me. It's always a pleasure to join you guys. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept this and reward all of you, because actually you are talking about me being on social media. I actually am a huge fan, and I have a huge inspiration for you guys, mashallah. You're not only doing religious programs, you are actually doing social programs and the financial aid programs, which as a community, each and every community should imitate, subhanAllah. So may Allah reward all of you, inshallah. Ameen ya Rabb. Dawah is extremely different, because back in the days when in-person dawah was happening, when you will see people in masjid, you will interact with them, you will going to give your shoulder to lean on. It was a different experience. And now, because of social distancing, masajid have suspended their activities, and now almost all the programs are being done virtually. So obviously there is a missing ingredient of meeting people and having that interaction, in-person interaction. But on the flip side, actually, the positive of this virtual programs is that people can enjoy listening to the wide variety of Islamic lectures, and they can see the programs, and they can donate wherever they want, wherever they feel, just by sitting in their home. So they don't have to necessarily go to one Islamic center to another Islamic center and risk their life, especially during these times of coronavirus. So this is a positive side. But on the flip side, the concern is that, inshallah, hopefully things will be better very soon, inshallah, hopefully. But when the things will get better, how the people will come back, because eventually it won't happen like a magic wand overnight. All of a sudden things will get better. Slowly and gradually, then people will take their time in coming back to masjid. And that will be a concern for all of us, that when you're going to have that full congregation in Jummah, full congregation of Eid, especially in the masajid like ISBCC or in Worcester Islamic Center, which are very big masajid. There will be challenges, but on a positive side, at least me as an imam, my wife is extremely happy now. I don't have to go anywhere, and all the programs. I was speaking to one of the imams, and he was saying that this self-quarantine is actually the dua of all the wives of the imam.
I like that.
Yeah.
Inshallah, yeah. I think post-COVID-19 dawah and going to masajid will be like a different type of fiqh and different type of like a message to the community, inshallah. And we'll tackle this in our episode, inshallah. So let's start by question number one. What does the word zakat mean? and what's its significance in Islam?
So word zakat means, first of all, Arabic is very rich language, and that's why Arabs are rich. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, come on.
Okay. Oh, Arabic is extremely rich language. It's really hard for me to translate the word zakah exactly in English or in any other language. Charity is a very shallow translation. Zakah can be translated in three English terms, and all of that is actually meant by zakat. First is purification, because it purifies the suspicious earning. That's the meaning of zakat. Second is increase, nama, ziyada. That's also meaning of zakat because it increases the wealth of recipients, and actually it also increases the wealth of donors also. And third, zakat meaning is praise. Praise. وَلَا تُزَكُّوا أَنفُسَكُمْ is also zakat. So donors will be praised by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the day of judgment, and sometimes donors will be praised also by the recipients. So again, these three meanings you will see in the loga, in the dictionary: purification, increase, and praise.
Awesome.
And
Yeah.
also, just to some, the Quranic use of zakat is actually a sadaqat, and zakat in the Quran is used interchangeably. Just keep FYI, because most people, I see this confusion is spreading, that zakah and sadaqat both
Yeah,
are.
this was my next question. Like, what are the difference? What is the difference between zakah, sadaqat, and zakatul mal, for instance?
Yeah. Yeah, so in Quran and in Hadith, so in text, in classical text of Quran and Hadith, sadaqat and zakah are used interchangeably. They are used as synonyms. But later on in the Muslim community, globally speaking, zakah is meant for obligatory charity, which is 2.5%, and sadaqat is actually for non-obligatory charity. So right now, when we were going to use sadaqah and zakat, we'll use in these not obligatory and obligatory charity. But generally, when Quran and Hadith uses in the back in the days, they were used as synonyms.
Okay, perfect. Now we understand that zakah, sadaqat, and there is zakat al-mal, that fall under the zakah, and the zakat al-fitr. That's
Yeah.
right?
So zakatul fitr is different. So zakatul fitr is again, the rulings are different. So zakatul fitr, in the zakatul mal or the obligatory charity, you have to give once you have over the nisab. That is 85 grams gold or equal amount of cash value, which is around in today. It will be around $4,600. If you have that in your account for more than 12 months, you have to give zakatul mal, obligatory charity. For zakatul fitr is different. For zakatul fitr, you have to see if you have more than the required food you have to eat and your family have to eat. Then you have to give zakatul fitr, and your family, even the kids who have not reached to adulthood, even you have to give them on their behalf, which is around $10 if you will calculate in the cash amount.
Perfect. So I will come into nisab.
Yeah.
We need to calculate zakah, and this $10 to $12, because like some say that 12, some they say that 10, and stuff like that. So let's get back to the nisab. You mentioned that if I have in my bank account $4,500 maintained. So this is the question for our sister Habiba. Like 4,500, sometimes they go up, sometimes they go down. And then at the end of the year, I end up with 4,500. So how much I have to pay?
There's disagreement between the four imams. I don't want to torture you with what Imam Abu Hanifa says and so on, but I have to.
Tell you what Imam Asif Hirani, who read all those books.
So basically there's disagreement. I will mention them and then I will mention what we have to do. Easy is the Hanafi opinion, but I'll mention. So Shafi and Hanbali, they say it have to be maintained for 12 years above the nisab. So if
12 months.
Yeah, so if you have, let's say, $4,600 is the nisab today. Okay. If you have $45,000 throughout the year in your bank account for 11 months, and then something happened, now you have decreased from $5,000 to $4,000. Then according to Hanbali and Shafi, you do not have to give zakat until you will have that 12 months again above the nisab. But Hanafis are easy to calculate because all of us, we don't necessarily keep checks and balances in our bank balances. So Hanafi say, let's say from 1st of Ramadan, just using this date for easy calculation, from 1st of Ramadan 2019 to 1st of Ramadan 2020, if these two dates, if you have more than your nisab, then no matter if amount decreases in between the 2 years, in between this year, it doesn't matter. You have to give zakat. So that's easy calculation, and that's why I would say just go for that because it's easy for all of us in the Western countries.
Okay. I will not leave this again. So 4,600 administrator. So at the end, this was like my bank account in first of Ramadan last year.
Yeah.
First of Ramadan this year, and then I passed through that 1,000, 1,500, and then today in Ramadan I have 11,000. Okay. So what is the amount of that I have to calculate my zakah on?
Whatever you have today.
Well, so 11,000 times 2.5%.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's an easy opinion to calculate without going into the complications.
Perfect. So whatever I have right now, and then multiplied by 2.5, this is my amount of zakat. So I have a question for you. Now ISBC are putting zakat calculator like on their website. Can we use this app? Can we use this app to put the stuff so that we can know exactly the amount of zakat I have to pay?
So first of all, it's a great thing, man. SubhanAllah. I should ask my masjid to do the same. SubhanAllah. I've never thought of this. MashaAllah, it's an amazing idea. First of all, may Allah reward all of you doing this IT work. SubhanAllah. We as an imams are in front, but wallahi, it's a real effort is being put by you guys. May Allah reward all of you.
It's all together. All together, all like on the web, and everyone will share everything.
So I have not seen that personally, but I know that many of the big Islamic organizations and including like right now ISBCC have done this. So if your zakat calculation is simple, then that's an easy way. You should go and you should I'm assuming that you all trust your local masajid and organization and you should cooperate in all the good things. But if your zakat calculation is some complicated, then I would say go to a scholar or the person of knowledge.
Perfect. Now I calculate the zakah. I know the nisab, and then I calculate the zakah. So first of all, I have some money that I have to give as zakah. Number one, does the masajid eligible in the United States eligible for having this zakah money? Yes or no? And number two, what are the masarif zakah that I need to pay my money in?
So when it comes to the masajid, you might be aware that there is a disagreement between the scholars, though the vast majority of classical scholars, again, listen to the words carefully as our many options have changed. I guess humor is not makruh, right? Okay. So the vast majority of classical scholars of the four mazahib, they say that you cannot give it to the masjid. But obviously things have changed when the Muslim community have migrated to the Muslim minorities, like in Western countries, in Europe, and then especially in US. So the fatwas revised, and now there are two different layers. So classical scholars, they did not allow spending zakah money on the masjid or construction of the masjid or expenses of the masjid. But then when Muslim community of the contemporary scholar, they gave permission. This is the second layer now. They gave permission that actually you can use zakah money for the da'wah purposes. So that's a second layer. For any da'wah purposes, you can use zakah money. And then there is a third layer, which is a few contemporary scholars, and one famous one of them is Sheikh Yusuf al-Qardawi and Sheikh al-Jibreen. They give permission that actually you can use zakah money for the masjid also. And especially in the Western countries, when you know that masajid are doing a lot more than just 5-time prayers, they are doing dawah activities, they are the relief projects, they are the places where delegates and politicians will come, and that's a representation of the Islam itself. Then there is no harm in using this opinion by a scholar like Sheikh Yusuf al-Qardawi and Sheikh al-Jibreen. But I would say that we should divide our zakah in a way that it should go to other recipients also. So it should go to poor, it should go to needy, it should go to other deserving people, as well as we can give it to the masjid.
Perfect. So there is masarif al-zakah. If I have the money, I have masarif al-zakah, so I can buy them and pay. And if the masjid they have the access to the relief, to the access to the poor, can we give to the masjid or to the organization that do relief and do that access to the poor and the needy, or should I have to do it myself?
So there are two different aspects of what you're asking, Brother Amar. First is to give it to the masjid so that they can fulfill their expenses.
Oh, this is one.
Even that's permissible according to Sheikh Yusuf al-Qaradawi and Sheikh al-Jibrin. Although majority classical scholar deny this, but I'm talking about contemporary scholars. When it comes to ISBCC or Worcester Islamic Center, they are having their own, every masjid is having their own zakat committee or zakat team for the relief projects. That's absolutely fine according to everyone to give it to them, because most of us, we don't have the access or reach to give it to directly to the poor or deserving people or less fortunate people. And obviously right now in coronavirus, you don't want to go out because of self quarantine, so these masajid and their zakat committee is going out, so it's safer and easy to take out the burden from your shoulders and give it to them.
Perfect. I have a question from our brother Kareem. He said that who's the person who is eligible for zakat? Many people still can afford food on the table, but still need support. And this is like ongoing questions at the ISBCC. Hey, yeah, you might see me like barely making, I'm not saying month to month, like 20th of the month till the end of the month. And sometimes like I come with my car, but I need help. And they go, wallah, subhanallah, they go asking for some money. Now, am I like eligible for zakah, or am I like asked to pay zakah?
Vast majority of a scholar, again, I don't want to torture you, but Maliki Shafi Hamli, that's vast majority of a scholar. They say even if a person is eligible to give zakah, yet he might be given zakah. So if even if a person have more than nisab, yet he can receive zakah if there is a need, because the definition of miskeen, different than faqir. The definition of miskeen, as the scholars explain, is not the person who doesn't have money at all. The definition of miskeen is a person who have money, but his needs are overwhelmed, and that therefore he will need more money. So especially right now, if you have, let's say, $4,800 in your bank account, still we know the rent in Boston, subhanallah. So we, vast majority of scholars give permission. Why we have problem with that is don't be judgmental in your approach in judging your brothers and sisters at the time of need and the time of extreme necessity.
Perfect. And this is a very, I would say, a flexible, very well thought of like answer. We thank you for that, because like actually we've seen people right now during those past 2 months who have never seen them before. And those are people like, wallahi, yani, with khajal. They're asking for if there is a relief thing. And this is like a moment that we have to reflect on the blessings and bounties of, number one, al-istikhdam, that Allah are using us to make some relief on those our brothers and sisters. Number two, that we have money to pay some of our zakat and sadaqat as well.
Yeah.
Now, we mentioned something about the quarantine. And prior, you and I together, you said that's the fiqh. You have been like bombarded by questions about fiqh changes stuff during the past 2 months. So share with us some of those, I would say, challenges of the fiqh, quarantine, Ramadan, Qiyam, Salah, and I have a question about the Hajj as well, or the Qiyam.
So I knew it was coming. The fiqh challenges, fiqh dynamics. When this all lockdown started around March 13th or March 14th. So I actually invested my 6-7 days, full almost. I barely had sleep on those days, and I actually compiled a research paper of the new contemporary fiqh issues which will come. And I can actually share that link with you. It's published. It's on our website. It's been endorsed by so many different scholars, alhamdulillah, even locally in US. And whether Jummah should be cancelled or not, whether we should pray Jummah at home, what about fasting, what about Zakah, can we expedite, can we defer Zakah, so on and so forth. So I knew it was coming, but subhanAllah, it's just the drop in the ocean. The fiqh will be evolved completely, and those people who have closed the door of ijtihad, obviously those people who are not qualified for ijtihad, that's a different thing, but those people who don't want to look at the new issues and want to find out the fiqh principles and rulings on that, they were going to suffer a lot. So you need to have contemporary knowledge, and you need to stay connected to the contemporary scholars to come up with the answers to the contemporary questions.
Yeah, and we're be very much happy to see those new research paper, and hope to that we'll learn something about that, and definitely we'll learn to see that how can we practice during this time and post COVID-19, inshallah. So tell me about like Taraweeh. It was like Taraweeh. Now we are praying Taraweeh either alone with our families, and I miss my Imam. Can I let him like do Zoom meeting and then we pray after him because we love his voice?
Okay, it's a very good question. So first of all, praying Taraweeh at home or at masjid, let's see that. Tarawih is not obligatory by vast majority of scholars, so that's a done deal. So when it comes to praying at which is better, now there is a disagreement. Majority of the scholars say praying at masjid is better or praying in congregation is better. Imam Malik rahimahullah is reported from him that he used to say some Malikis say that pray alone at home is better than praying at masjid, although that's not the majority. But he said that when you pray alone, it just avoids you from raya. It avoids you from showing off to people. You can have more connection with Allah. That's the reasoning. Okay, now, so basically there is disagreement. Now we don't have any options. Beggars can be choosers. So you have to pray alone or with jama at your home. Second question, that can we pray Taraweeh behind a remote imam or behind a virtual imam? So just let me tell you this. So whatever I'm about to say is not just to discourage the use of modern technology and the latest methods of communication. We are actually using this StreamYard and Facebook to actually communicate this. We encourage the use of modern day technology, but there is a term called maqasid al-sharia, objectives of Islamic law. If there's anything goes against that, then we have to be very skeptical about accepting that. The there are reasons why majority of these scholars from the four mazhab, they did not allow a remote imam or to follow behind a remote imam unless it's in the hudud of the masjid. If it's the hudud of the masjid, premises of the masjid, then it's fine. That if there are different rooms in the masajid, then you can follow the imam through Zoom or Skype. But if, let's say, if you are sitting in Boston, I'm sitting in New York or New Jersey, then vast majority of scholar of the four mazahib, I'm not saying consensus, but it's almost a consensus, almost an ijma, that the scholars haven't allowed, and there are reasons for that. Um, First reason is that the understood implication of a congregational prayer necessitates that the congregants gather in the same place and not simply at the same time. So the understanding is not actualized in a virtual congregation, which just entails a physical separation of the worshippers and result in them not having witnessed the actual congregational prayers in the mosque. Second, it just goes against some of the basic maqasid of the Sharia. So when you walk to the masjid, you'll get a reward. How you will do that? Third is that it's not permissible for the gap between the rows of salah, so the people who are praying behind the imam, how much gap should be between them. So no one allowed the distance to be hundreds and 50 miles between each other with buildings and road acting as a divider. No one allows this. And in virtual congregants, you have to assume that, subhanAllah. So that will be an issue, subhanAllah. There's so many other things that it will go back to the against the maqasid of the Sharia. When things will get better, then how you will ask people to come to the masjid when people will say, okay, we can actually do the jama'ah at home. And then furthermore, let's apply this logic. Then why do you need masjid? Just have Kaaba, have that one masjid haram, and then close all the masajid,
Yeah.
because we can follow virtually. So basically, it goes against our logic, against our rationale. And then at the same time, once you apply this, you are going to see this, that it does not feel genuine and natural with the maqasid of the Sharia. So I would say that even for the Taraweeh, it's not even obligatory prayer to pray in Jama'ah. Even some scholars say it's better to pray at home. So why there's an argument? Yes, if you like the recitation of your Imam or any other Imam in that case, just listen to that recitation while you are at your home, while you are eating. And at the same time, when it comes to prayer, you can pray this Nawafil Salah individually or with your family.
Dr. Asif, Allah, you broke my heart because like I was planning to get a yes from you so that next year Ramadan I would play Zoom live like with my Imam. Alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khairan. I have a question from Sister Habiba. She said like Jazakallah khairan. Do you have to give a zakat on retirement funds like MFS account, for example, 401ks? Do you have to give the zakat for that?
Yeah, so Sister Habiba, it's a beautiful question. So there are different kinds of retirement plans. So let's say if your retirement plan is not willing, so you contracted in a job and your job have offered you that, okay, we will offer you 401k, and there's no willingness to actually start a new retirement account. In that, there's two opinions, and both of them are coming from a scholarly perspective. Do whatever you want. One is that if you have a 401k account, you can calculate each and every year in your zakatable income that this will be the yearly 401k income, and then give zakah on that. The second opinion is that you don't have to give zakah on every year, even though that's your money, but you it's not your ownership right now. Once you will get that, once you will going to get that money, and then 1 year will be passed, then you have to give zakah on that. So basically, both the opinions are there. Either give every year by calculating, or wait until you are going to get that money at the end, when you are going to get that money, and then eventually 1 year will pass and you will give that zakat. But this is only when you are not willing to. You don't have an option. When you have an option, like if you are a 1099 employee, and if you say, okay, let me go for these retirement plans, now you are willingly going, then most of these scholars say that you have to give every year.
Perfect. If there's anything, let's say that this, we have to pay zakat in Ramadan. Is there a relation between zakat and Ramadan?
So traditionally, I know that many Muslims do this. There are two reasons for it, which I can think of. One is it's easy to calculate. No one remembers even Islamic months after Ramadan. So it's easy to remember because zakat have to be given a lunar calendar. So it's easy to remember Ramadan. And second, because in Ramadan, whatever you do, you will get multiplied rewards. So people will going to give in Ramadan, but no, there's no Sharia bounding you to give zakah in Ramadan. Actually, I would say it depends on circumstances. So if circumstances are you will see a need in the community or in your family, and you're helping them even other than Ramadan because of that need, and you answer to that call, you will get more reward than generally giving in Ramadan when there was no need. So basically, it depends on circumstances.
There is like right now, there's a COVID-19 relief funds. Can we donate or put our zakat into this fund?
If they are the organization whom you trust, they will going to spend your money in a way which how the zakah money should be used. Then there is no harm. Then actually it's one of the requirement right now, need of the hour. But if they are the organization where you know that your money won't be used, like some I know that certain mayors have started locally in their cities to have funds. So if you can give them from the regular charity, from giving give them from zakah is really questionable, because some scholars say that zakah can be given to that. Certain scholars say zakah cannot be given to that. But if that's running by a Muslim organization, let's say ISBCC have their COVID-19 relief fund, then I will going to give it blindly, because I'm a Musalli at ISBCC. I trust ISBCC or any other masjid for that argument. So again, it depends on your understanding and relationship and trust on the organization.
Perfect. Also, that now I'm a business owner, and now my business got impacted. I own a restaurant, and this like right now it's shut down. I have some money. However, like this money is eroding very fast. Okay, and I applied for the PPP, and I got some funds so that I can pay some of the funds. Or I'm right now on unemployment. They laid me off on unemployment. And definitely, I don't know the future would look like. So, zakah would be like, if I pay zakah, yeah, I have the money to pay zakah. However, it would like, it's scary to pay zakah. Shall I pay or not pay zakah if my business got impacted, if I'm unemployment funds, stuff like that?
So before I can tell you the exact answer to the question, just remember the general principle is that zakah becomes obligatory after 1 year have passed and you have more than the nisab. So generally speaking, it becomes obligatory regardless of the circumstances. Remember this. Now, and obviously you have to trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that by giving this 2.5% from the savings, Allah will going to increase my wealth, because Rasulullah have promised in sadaqah that this charity is not reduced by giving this wealth is not reduced by giving charity. So all these things you have to remember. But yes, there are exceptions to the general principle, and those exceptions are especially in the Hanbali mazhab and some of the Hanafis mazhab, and that is if the situation is not good, just like in the times in which you are living, then you can defer zakah. then you can defer zakah to the next year or to the next to next year. And they actually have the evidence on Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anh. During his time, the financial situation was not good in one of the years. So Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anh said that, okay, we won't collect zakah this year. Next year, we'll collect the zakah twice. So that it's okay and permissible to defer the zakah, especially in the times in which we are living global recession. And as you said, there's a flip side also to expedite zakah. So those people who are well off and those people who can afford, I would recommend, because there are so many people financially struggling right now. And if they can even expedite the zakah for 2 years. They can give zakah for this year, and they can give zakah for next year. So basically, it depends on circumstances, because Sharia is very flexible. So if you are under those circumstances where you are struggling, you can defer. Or if you are well off, you can give 2 years advance. Otherwise, you can stay in the middle and give every year.
Dr. Asif Hirani, now the time has finished. However, I have one last question. I know that it's always like the time flies with you. There is a saying that say that, hey, zakat is paid so that you don't keep your money inside the bank. Because like if you keep the money inside the bank, it will decrease year after year after year, like 2.5, and then it keep decreasing. This is like a philosophy of zakat so that you can put your money in trading. Okay, but I'm not a trader. I don't understand trading. So, and my money will decrease. So I'm like, it's a paradox of thinking here. My money will decrease, or shall I, is it like, this is the rationale behind the zakat? Shall I have to pull my money and give it to a trader and either win an increments profits or lose it all?
So that's a good question. It goes back to the maqasid of the Sharia, objectives of the Islamic law. Zakat came there to better the circulation of the wealth. That's the primary purpose of the zakah. So the rich people were going to that so the circulation of the wealth becomes better, and it won't only reduce to the rich people. That's the purpose of the zakah and any financial instructions in Quran and in Sunnah. So obviously, Islam also encourages this, that whatever you have, you won't only keep it in your account and in your deposit boxes, because this is something which Islam encourages, to invest that money into the business and into trading. Obviously, no one is asking you to blindly do this. Go into your skills and field, and then eventually do this. But if you have a huge amount of money, if you just want to save something for your retirement, for the emergency, that's okay. But then Islam encourages you to invest those money in different projects and different avenues. So eventually, it will increase also, because increase is one of the terms of the zakah.
It's always a pleasure to be with us. Allah, you and team. Allah bless you, increase your knowledge, increase your ilm. And I hope to see you again, inshallah, discuss Surah Yusuf from the psychological impact. We need that. Definitely, we need that. Jazakallah khairan.
Oh yeah, great. Jazakumullah khairan. I love you for the sake of Allah. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.